Hey guys, Crystal here, and today I kind of want to do a little bit of a recap of my year as far as my goals, my minimalism, my health, etc. Just kind of like a review of all the major goals I had and kind of where I stand today, and sort of a recap of the videos I've been doing for the last 6 months, basically. So, if you've been following me since I started, and I think a couple of you have, so thank you for sticking around, I have really been focusing on my health and my wellness and sort of just like my mental state of being because I'm I'm at a point in my life where I have all these goals, and yes, finance is a thing and writing is a thing and my career is a thing, but at the same time I have health issues and my health really takes precedence over all those other things. So aside from the minimalism and the natural beauty stuff I'm into and the whole 30 and all this, at the heart of it, it's really because of my health. And I haven't really gone into detail on that on this channel yet. If you guys would like me to go into detail, I am totally open to sharing my experience. But in essence, I have hypothyroidism, and I have for 17 years now since I was originally diagnosed, and I'm on treatment and everything, but it affects a lot of other elements in my life. It affects my mental state, my energy levels, my digestion, like just everything. So I can go into details on that in another video if you guys would like. Just let me know in the comments and I would happily share if it helps anyone like get in touch with their own symptoms. But hypothyroidism is just a fact of my life. I'm going to have this forever. I am under treatment, but it just is what it is. So for 2016, I felt like my biggest wish was to take care of me. So I have made a concerted effort to eat better. Doing the whole 30 was based on my desire to track down some of what I think are probably food allergies or food intolerances that I've developed. I still haven't quite pinpointed exactly everything that's causing me harm, but I've started to get a better sense of what's going on. So, for instance, I've been having tons of TMJ for the last few years. I've had a lot of issues with migraines. I've had a lot of issues with my hormones being a little bit out of whack, and I need to actually see my doctor about that again this year and kind of get my levels tested. So there have been a lot of other factors that have been affected, and my goal in this year was to figure out where it all lies. Because I do believe in treating the cause, not just masking the symptoms. So doing this in concert with a doctor as well as just my own research, because hey, I'm a librarian, I work at a university, I have access to tons of medical research, and sometimes I go to my doctor with all the research I've done and he's like, yep, that's exactly right. So I know that I'm a moderately intelligent person and I can figure my stuff out just based on my symptoms and what I read, and then consult with somebody who's an expert. So I feel comfortable doing that, and that has been my goal, and I've seen some changes. My goal for 2017 is to continue on that track. I feel like the whole 30 is the most effective thing I have done, and I haven't gone into detail since my last video where I kind of updated everyone on where I stood now. But I've done 3 whole 30s, and after every time I do them, I feel more aware of what I eat. I feel more in tune. There are some things I have not really reintroduced back since my first reintroduction, just because yeah, they did not work well with me. Like, I know that dairy is a problem, and if I'm gonna eat it, it's gonna be knowing that I'm gonna suffer for a few days. I've realized that rice is a weird problem too. I've never noticed it before, but reintroducing just rice, I've noticed some changes there. So, things like that. In 2017, I'm gonna focus a lot more on going towards what Melissa Hartwig describes as the food freedom plan. So, like, being aware of what is worth it and what you should eat or knowingly eat, realizing the consequences that will follow. So for 2017, that's my goal, and I'll probably be filming some videos as I transition into that. So again, if you guys want to hear about that, let me know, drop it a comment. I'll be happy to share my health journey, I suppose. In addition to that, I started with a financial goal plan, and that got sidetracked, so I didn't reach the goal I really intended to reach. Um, I started with one of those 52-week plans, and I always kind of like half-ass it halfway, because once it gets into the weird like 20 amounts, It's not really money that I have left over in my wallet, and it's money that you can't really easily get out of the ATM. So it becomes kind of weird, and I just kind of like fall off the wagon and give up on that. So I ended up doing like one of those, if you get $5 or you happen to get $20 in change, just stick it in a piggy bank. So I've done that. I need to count that up, see how much I saved. But what I really decided to do very recently was create a second savings account. Now, again, I'm at that point in my life where retirement is, several decades away, but is a reality. And I work with older adults, so their influence is always there. So I do have a savings account that's I think of as my life savings account, and I do have all those other bits and pieces. But at the same time, I'm also working on establishing sort of a fun savings account. So for the incidentals and trips, I do want to travel. That is definitely a goal for 2017. I feel like it's been over 10 years since I've traveled out of the US, and as somebody who likes history and loves culture, I need to get out. I need to do something else. And my recent travels have all just been for conferences, which are nice, but not really relaxing or enlightening. So I need to travel. I need to get out. So I started a second savings account. So that's sort of a current goal moving into 2017 goal, just to improve my finances and continue working on that. So my other goal, in addition to that, was really to write more. And I'm of two minds when it comes to this. Because I focus so much on my health, these things are related. I had a lot of migraines this year. I had a lot of days where my energy was just like not at all there, so I couldn't really do much. And I felt like writing kind of became a secondary thing to that. So I haven't written as much as I planned to write initially. My initial goal had been to have a completed, polished draft by January. That's definitely not happening. I'm only, I would say, about a good third of the way through the current draft. I might be underestimating that, but again, I'm my own worst critic, so I could be underestimating that. But at the same time, I think it's just this fear of missing out. So I think like I need to be done, because what if this great opportunity comes around and I'm not ready with a finished draft to submit? And at the same time, I also have to remind myself that I'm working towards a good polished draft, and rushing it isn't going to help anyone. I'm just going to end up having to redraft it because I kind of half-assed it if I just rush through it. And I did complete a draft. I rewrote an entire draft for the most part, and I had beta readers read it. And then I waited for that, and I took that feedback, and I read it again myself, and I ingested that feedback, and I applied it to my plan for editing. So I kind of also have to reward myself, because I did actually commit to it and finish a draft and get it read and get feedback and get my own feedback and create a plan. So while my plan has been sidetracked because of my health and then the numerous life emergencies that happened, there were a lot of them, and it's been a difficult year. Some more damaging than others, but when I initially started redrafting was right around the time, like literally like 2 weeks after I started the new draft, I had a massive car accident. So my head was not in a good place for about a month and a half. And soon after that, I had a conference trip. And between one thing and the other, one of my coworkers died, and I was his boss, and things just kind of got really weird and emotional. So there was a period of about 2.5 months when I was supposed to be making progress, and very little progress was being made because my head was just not in a good place. And if my head was not in a good place, my writing was not in a good place either. And I've reached the point where as a writer, I know my writing well enough to know that when I'm in a dark place, nothing good is coming out of me. So I did scale back there as well and focus more so on my health and my mental well-being. So those two things are always related as far as my own personal approach to writing goes. I feel like if my mental state, if my health are not good, my writing suffers. And this year my writing suffered. It did. My pace and my ability to concentrate were not in a good place. So moving on to 2017, my goal is to finish this draft hopefully get another 2 readers to read it and get some more feedback and then do a good final polish, because I feel like plot wise it's at the place where it's as good as it's going to get, I think, without having to redo the whole story. And I guess if that happens, and we'll see what the submission process looks like eventually, who knows, that could happen. But at this point I feel like the plot is where it needs to be. If I keep making major changes to it, I'm just, like beating a dead horse at that point. So I will finish this, hopefully get some readers, polish it up. But that's my goal for 2017, just to finish that draft, have a clean draft, start practicing the pitching and querying process, and go from there. So I'll probably be posting a little bit more, but that's one of the reasons why I've been so lax on the writing videos. I really haven't been writing very much, if I'm honest. So motivation hasn't really been the factor. It's just been will, I would say. So yeah, that's the truth, and just while we're being honest about it. But that's really where I stand with my goals. Those are my 3 major goals, and it seems like my goals are just carried over every single year. But they change, my life changes, and my approach changes. So I'll keep sharing that process with you guys. But aside from all that, minimalism has definitely been a huge factor this year, and it has changed the way I see myself in relation to spending and my desires and what I want in life. So that has also played a huge part in helping me sort of reach that mental equilibrium, we can call it. So that's been good, and I hope to keep continuing that, and I'll share my process as I go forward. So that is all I have to share today. Thank you guys for watching, and do leave a comment down below if you're interested in any of these things I've talked about, if you want some more details, or if you just want to say hey, go ahead and drop me a comment. So I'll check you guys out later. Bye.